think it's a spirit. She thinks it's a demon. And she wants to know if you destroy the grave, will they go away? No, Beverly, they will not. Destroying the grave will not do anything, except maybe make them more angry. And she said after she just typed the above, the only room in the whole house which she was in with the room light on just had a flicker attack with the light bulb.
So I do know this. If you ever talk about spirit in your house, they know it.
Yeah, they do.
They will affect your telephone. I've had that happen. They knew we were coming over to one house in Sand Lake. Spirit even left a message with all zeros on the caller ID. And it said my name. And I better watch out. And it was just a mean old uncle who molested kids and was a low vibration. Found out who it was. He was shot in the backyard there by a cousin who is life in prison now. I mean, a lot of things happen in Sand Lake. But anyway, that's what we found out. Took us a couple of visits to find out, getting the evidence, find out what it was, but that's what it was. They know you're coming, and it's probably knowing that you're listening to the show and we're talking about just that. Now it's going to want attention.
Well, I've been on the way to an investigation before and started getting messages within miles of the place. Actually started talking about Indians out of nowhere before, and when we got to the place, come to find out it was all about this Indian that was there. So,
yeah, one of the people that I have a lot of respect for is Kim Russo. If you ever saw her on The Haunting of, they have modified that show. They're doing something else now on the LMM network, but Kim Russo is also a medium. And she's had the same thing as you, Deb. She was like 2 miles from the place they were going, crossed over railroad tracks, and had all these visions and a headache coming in. She didn't know why. At the end of the show, the spirit actually was from the railroad tracks who was hit by a train and went 2 miles to the house where they were at.
Yeah, one house that I've been to and did an investigation at, they had someone die on the outside on the road, and it was a mile down the road, and they ended up being haunting the house that was, a mile away. They just went to the first house, I think. They didn't live in the area even.
Before we sign off for good, we got to do some housework here. If anyone truly wants an investigation or talk to us, let me give you the email address for us. If you want to find out, or you just want to coexist with it, that's fine too. We've had a lot of people that say, I kind of like it here. It's 4th DPI, as in Fourth Dimension Paranormal Investigations, but it's the initials, at gmail.com. So it's 4THDPI at gmail.com. And Debra and I will talk about those that come in. Explain the best you can. If you got pictures or audio to attach, that's even better. But describe what's happening, and if you want, someone to come out, Deb or myself or whoever, to look into, just take some base EMF readings I would do from the science side, and Debra could walk through and get an idea of what's happening there. That's probably the best conduit to us.
I think Diana's trying to instigate it because she's says the one that she's talking about is at her sister's house. She has many happenings there, pretty used to it. There's either a miner or another there that makes loud sounds like someone ripping metal, sliding off house with a sledgehammer and crowbar. It's loud, comes back from the bedroom of her house near her kitchen. None of us have ever been able to find out what it is. We have tried. None of the shadow being or whatever the heck they are were seen back there. It's always been in the front area of the home. Several incidents there did turn gas on the stove once, which I was standing right next to. I saw it happen. My sister and I both told him, no, 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 you cannot do that. You'll hurt someone. So if mine are in here with me and hear me listening to the show, I'll let you know if they act up, Debra.
Well, yeah, you could have a combination of poltergeist activity. We had one just about 2 months ago, poltergeist. They were stacking chairs in the house. You talk about some crazy-ass stuff. And this was a dentist. He had all his faculties. He had a beautiful home, but his kids usually go after the young girls for some reason. I'm. The other thing is you may have residual type activity going on. Residual is not intelligent. What happens in residual is kind of like a tape recorder. And I have from a murder house, a triple murder house in Walker, Michigan. John Seisling killed his mom and his two sisters, raped his sisters, and killed the 6-year-old too. Now, with that in mind, he killed the mom near the washing machine, stabbed her about 78 times. During the first part of the stabbing, she was screaming, obviously. I have that on tape. I picked it up. It's residual, meaning that there was so much energy being put out at that time, either by John or his mother. And the emotion, can you imagine the emotional impact? What that does is take that and just that emotion and that energy stores somewhere. It can store in that space and time. It can store in maybe the concrete or some object. But and it'll play at will. You won't hear it, but in this case, we had to hear it on a digital recorder. I picked it up. I just had it running down there, and like 17 minutes into it, you can just start hearing the mom screaming. It's horrible. And it goes on for about 6 seconds. And I'm very cautious where I play it and who I play it for, because to me, it's a woman being killed. So in home, sometimes if you're hearing the same old, it could be residual from something very powerful. I call it SSE, significant social events, happened in that home or area at a certain time and place, maybe years ago, and it's just residual, a tape recording just playing over and over. Or that may not.
That's what I'm curious about. I'm curious if you can clear residual energy off of objects or off of property.
All right. My other host for the show used to be Jeslyn from Haunted Collector. She was on the show. And she said there were ways. One way was to remove the objects. Try to find out what object was causing the residual problem. You remove it. There were some other rituals to do. I'm not aware of them. I'm not entirely sure you can, because there's many castles in Europe that have a lot of really horrible residual activity, and I can't get rid of it.
Right.
It's imprinted in time and space, which, if I go to Walmart, I can't find an eraser for that, for that time and space thing. I mean, that's pretty powerful stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that you can.
I'm losing you, Deb.
I'm kind of thinking that you can.
Well, you might be able to. I don't know. I've never heard of anyone trying to remove it, because a lot of residual stuff is only picked up with our equipment. Now, if they're hearing disembodied residual, which means that you don't have to have any equipment, you can hear it with your ears.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, sure, you'd want that erased, right?
I would think so.
I'm curious as to some of the listeners that are writing in. Why are they putting up with this so long?
Well, first of all, Diana and Jennifer are both in my administration on Beyond the Looking Glass. So they both have their own abilities. In fact, Jennifer, when she was talking about me sending her one of my guides to help her, one of her goats was sick, and she's a healer, and she needed some energy and some healing power so that she could help her goat, who is now doing fine, thank you. So I'm really glad to hear that. And she just found out basically how to do that. She's been working with it a lot more since she's been on the site. Diana is also psychic and medium and intuitive. So she's also, I think she's more curious with hers, and if there was any danger, she would have already gotten rid of it. And Jennifer stood her ground, so I'm pretty sure that she's not too worried about it either. I think if it was harming either one of them or whatnot, that they would be the ones to be able to get rid of it. So Beverly, on the other hand, is a regular person. I mean, as far as not having abilities or, that I know of. And she's very upset and very afraid and typing in taps. So,
well then, Beverly, I would write to fourthdpi at gmail.com. Hopefully you're in the area, not far, where we have to take an airplane. We don't charge you anything. Just keep in mind. I'll tell you why we do it. We do it for a couple reasons. First, you would probably meet Debra, and which is a gift, because then she could probably figure out what's going on once she got in the area. But two, we do it for what we did with Spirit, having it go to the light. Can you imagine where we're going that after we pass, that we did some good there? There's got to be some rewards in heaven for that. I don't know if I'm doing it for that, but I'm also doing it to satisfy the scientific quotient that I've always been curious as a kid, that if there's something there I don't understand, and it's gotten me in a lot of trouble in life, but I pursue it. From anything to anything, I've pursued it. And this is one thing that I know is true, and you know it, Beverly. You've seen it. You believe, it's there. So if you're truly wanting it to go away, don't be afraid of you have the wrong team and it can go wrong. I'm just telling you, knowing what we do and our approach to things has usually been successful. And that is, if you want to give us an email at fourthdpi@gmail.com, go ahead. And it's confidential. Not even your neighbors will know about it, that we're doing something there. We don't come with stuff in our cars and, coming out in, Ebola suits and stuff. We don't do that. We act like normal people just coming over for a visit and a beer or something. Write us if you're really had enough of this, because sometimes it can be scary enough that can cause you to have problems and ruin your life.
Well, and people can have several spirits attached to them that can cause their life to go terribly wrong, and they don't realize it. And a lot of doctors will diagnose it as, schizophrenia or, bipolar or this, that, and the other. So I would say please be sure and double check and go to another doctor. Go to a homeopathic doctor too, or a healer, and see what they have to say about it. If it helps what the doctor did, if that helps, then great. If it doesn't, then seek out some different ways of getting help, because these entities, these things can cause people to behave totally different than who they really are, and can make you hang on to things and be angry for no reason and be depressed. And I mean, there's just a whole gamut of things they can make you do. So really get some help, if not from the investigation itself, if it's with you, if it's with the person, then that also you need to get help for. You need to talk to a healer, talk to a psychic, talk to somebody who's going to help you get rid of those, like I did David with his entity that was attached to him. But get some help out. There's a lot of different help out there. There really is. There's a lot of help.
And, you know, a lot of people are afraid to get it because I've heard saying, well, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Christian.